Hi everyone! Well, this is just a silly upload, but I'm sitting here with my Kuretake Gansai Tambi watercolor set, and I don't know if you guys remember that I had this purple pan that was cracked and lifted up in craters, and it was so annoying to paint with because it's really hard. If you got these paints, try and feel the edges of the dried up pan. It's like super hard. Like, I'm not saying you can cut yourself on it, but it's like very hard. So of course a cracked pane where it's standing up in flakes like it's having an earthquake or something can be so hard that when you take your brush in between the crackles, you can pull off hair from your brush. I got sick of it. So what I did was that I put a lot of water down on the pan. It's the purple one right here. And then I added a drop of glycerin, and then I just took a skewer, and then now when I'm poking in it, I can feel that it's completely dissolved in the center of the pan. And then of course there are something in the edges that I actually can sit and dig out. The longer this paint sits in water, the more it kind of dissolves, so I can sit and dig it out. I'm very exciting to see how is this gonna dry up, and also like, is this gonna take like eons because there's a bunch of water in it. But can you see there's like a clump at the end of this skewer here? That's paint that I have scraped off. So I just wanted to pass this on because if you have this set right here, it might be a good experiment if you got a lot of time on your hand. It should be illegal to have so much spare time that you can do this. But seriously, it refrained me from taking this color on my brush because I don't know, I just felt that it was becoming an annoying pan to work with. But now when I'm sitting here anyway, having to store this palette in a specific way so that this water here is not running out, I might as well just wet down some of the other pans that are annoying me. One of the pans that are like super annoying to work with is this ultramarine blue pan here. This is a size brush that I like to paint with, and when the paint is all the way up in the edges, look, when I dig out, can you see how it's only the tip that's gonna get some color? So I like to have color in the barrel of the brush. So when I do like this, I feel that I get such a little amount that I have to dig. So now I'm gonna see if I can do the same trick by putting water down. I'm not gonna put glycerin in the ultramarine because it's okay. I don't hate the consistency of the dried up pan. Ooh, that was a lot. But what I do is that I'm experimenting to see if I can dissolve the watercolor and then make it spread out into the center of the pan. And then hopefully when the water evaporates, all the pigments are gonna once again be located in this center of this pan, because there are several of these that are so annoying to dig in. That one, for instance, and also I have issues with the yellow up here. I don't feel that I'm getting a lot of yellow. Okay, the camera doesn't really pick up. This is down to pan. It's just contaminated with color, because I can see when I look in the camera it looks like there's a lot more color in this one that there really is. This one is also one of those where I'm starting to try and side load, by digging out like this, and then never really touch the edge of this pan right here. So what happens is that it's, I don't know if I can get it up, they tend to get stuck when you paint a lot with them. But I don't know if you can tell, it's beginning to stand up, like raised up. So I was thinking maybe I should try and wet this down, see if I can dilute this raised up area here, and then hopefully it can be placed in the center of this pan here. That would be like a dream come true. It would actually make me paint more with this color if it did like that, because I can feel how I am avoiding some of the pans now when they are down like to the edges, because I think it's just annoying to dig. And when you, like me, have a lot of watercolors, you don't want to have these issues. You just grab another palette. You know what I mean? Like why sit and be frustrated when it's so easy to just go to your stash and then grab another palette set? So this is a very boring video. But it's also important for me to sort of test this out, because it's really difficult to use up a whole palette of watercolor because of these issues right here, that some of the last placement of the paint is hard to get to with your brush. And I really like working from these large wells here. So my plan is actually, when this is used up, and I really would love to use it up as much as possible, because Kuretake Gansai Tambi is an Asian brand that uses variety of binders in their paint. For instance, I think it's a binder issue with this purple one down here. So I cannot just top load it with the paint that I want to have to end up in this palette. And the paint that I want to end up in these large pans are my M-gram. I got some 2 sets of M-grams that I would love to refill this palette with once it's emptied out. But then you kind of need it to be completely emptied out. And if this can help me, I wouldn't mind spending a little time on this. But it seems like you just have to leave it alone, and then it will start dissolving itself. See here, I can start scratching in this end right here. Try to dig in. Sure, it's gonna take some time. But you know what I think it will take the most time? To let the water evaporate. I have never put a palette to sleep with this much water in a pan before. So I don't even have a clue of how long is it gonna take. I wonder if it matters that the peak of this paint is not underwater. If I really should like soak it all down. But here it's impossible because it has risen higher than the pan itself. Yeah, I'm just irritating it with a skewer. That's what's going on here. I can already feel that the paint that's in this edge here is dissolved. So when there is a thin layer, it goes super quick. And then there are these stubborn edges here. I'm wondering, does it matter whether you're using cold tap water, or should it have been like a hot water to dissolve things better? I got no clue. But okay, let me get back to this. For you guys, it's only gonna be like 1 second. For me, I need to remember how long it took, so I can pass that info on, because this is going to be a palette that have to be, you know, placed in a special way so you don't tip off the water. So it's going to be like annoying if you don't have a lot of drying spaces in your craft room. So it's good to know if it takes like a whole week. Hopefully it doesn't. But guys, I could be so anal that I could actually imagine doing this to all the pans, like that one especially, and this one also, especially the yellow. This orange here is also becoming a little bit weird. Look how weird it dries up when you're using it. Like the paint is residing from the edges, so there's like this huge gap. So maybe if I water it down, I could once again have it to fill out the whole pan. We'll see. Wow, I think I might be onto something. Look, this is the ultramarine. Look how the corners has released, and it's kind of soft, and it's been like, what, 20 minutes? And I just left it alone and then poked at it with my skewer, and then immediately I could poke out the corners of the pan. And it seems to me when I look at my well-loved pans, it's the corners that I get to last. So just having the paint released from the corners, look, you can like lift it up. Maybe this needs to be in there a little longer. Yep, there you go. I'm stuttering. It's because I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Look, there was the corner. And I don't really care how it's gonna dry up when it dries up, as long as this paint in the corner now is positioned in the center of the pan, because I kind of like digging out paint in the center of the pan. But 20 minutes, guys, and then I could already lift off the corner. Of course, it depends on how used was the pan. Like, the less paint that were in there and also in the corner, the faster it might gonna go, you know. But remember that I had that turquoise one where it has raised up here, so all the paint was almost in this corner here. I released that also, and it's completely almost dissolved. I only got this thing left that's not dissolved, but the rest is dissolved. I can feel it with the skewer when I go around the pan. So this is gonna hopefully dry up nice and flat. Now I want to do all of them. Now I want to do the rest, you know, so that when I'm done, I can have maybe I can have a palette that looks a little bit like a new palette, because what if it works? That would be so nice. There's something aesthetically pleasing about having your pans looking like this, like new, for me at least. I mean, I get drawn to it, and I think it's because I like the unboxing thing with new products. That's why I like to buy new palettes, because I really like the whole unboxing thing, and I like to look at a pristine new palette with all the pans flat, because they scream like they're ready to be used, you know, like all fresh and nice and top filled. So aesthetically, it just motivates me to want to paint. I haven't touched this ochre, I just poured water in it, so now I'm touching it for the first time with the skewer. It does feel kind of soft. You know, I feel that I can scrape off some of the paint. So now I'm just gonna let the water go to the side of the gusset that there's this gap in this pan here between the paint and the pan. Okay, we're just gonna let that one sit and see how it behaves. The orange one was the one with the biggest gap between paint and pan. And see how I can just scrape off that edge. And then I'm positive that this is gonna melt also without any effort. It's just gonna melt out and become oh my god, look how fast it is. I can completely lift off this corner here. Yeah, there is a little bit ASMR in doing this, but I think it's because it's the first time that I'm doing this, that it's fun. I'm not gonna, you know, go through all my palettes and dissolve all the pans in those, but it's an experiment that I'm glad that I'm doing, because hands down, it is the corners that are the hardest to use when you're using up your palettes. It's always in the corners you got this residue, and if you don't want to soak them and just want to refill them immediately with new different colors, it will get contaminated in that corner. So it's nice to know that you can actually be an idiot and sit and do like this. But yeah, let me water down the rest of the pans and kind of continue filming this crazy madness. So now they're all wet, totally liquid, and stirred out, and it did not take a lot of time, because if you just leave it alone, it will sort of dissolve by itself, and then with the skewer you can just stir it out. So now I'm gonna let it dry. I'm really excited to see how is it gonna dry up. I think when the water evaporates, it will show up some lumps, like here I feel when I'm stirring with the skewer that I still got some lumps from the corners. So as you can see, it's not like completely dissolved, so there will be some surprises when it dries up. But I'm trying to place them in the center of the pan, because that's actually where I want the paint to be. So I've been very focused about, you know, digging it out from the corners of the pan and pushing into the center. So I really cannot wait until this dries up. So, but I think I will come back in 4 or 5 hours, and then we can see how much has been evaporated in just 4 or 5 hours, just so we get an idea on, is this a good idea or not. Because if it takes like eons to dry up, then it might not be such a good idea. But I kind of like that I got pushed out all the paints from the corners. Some of the pans I did not work. This one I did not work with, and this and this and this, because I don't have issues with them. They're not like you know, they're not like irritating me at the moment. But I also noticed that when I started to swirl in the paint with the skewer and I lifted up the skewer, I picked up hair that has been falling off from my brush, and also some cat hairs. So all the things that are in like embedded in the paint, you can kind of get out now. I also think I have a bubble right there of some paint that's not like totally dissolved. But guys, now it's liquid, so now is the time if you want to put in some ox gall, or if you want to tint it with mica. And ox gall is a wetting agent, so if you feel that some of the paint are not moving much when you paint with them, you could actually have a fine opportunity now to add in an ox gall. And I added glycerin to the purple one because I want to see if it dries up not cracking with the now added glycerin. And what else can you add? You can add more binder to it if you feel that I don't know why you should add binder to it. I don't know what binder this Kuretake is using, so I don't know if I just got lucky that it dissolves so easily and well with water. I'm thinking if I did another brand like Van Gogh or Sennelier that use different kind of binder, if it still would so quickly dissolve with water, I have no clue. But as you can see, most of them are like almost filled to the top. It almost looks like a brand new palette, doesn't it? So it's going to be exciting to see how much water is evaporating and what's left. Yep. Well, I know I said that I would not go crazy and do that to all my palettes, but I have this one palette here, and it's my Prang watercolors, and there are still a lot on the edges. Maybe if I take it up to the camera, you can see that up here in the edges of the pan, that's where the color is. And I was just thinking, I was just having a brain fart here. Okay, it's very difficult with the black because it's so dark. I'm just having a brain fart. Like when I scoop out paint, when I'm painting, I would put my brush down and then I would swirl it around the edge, or I would do like this, or worst case scenario, I would crush the tip and then do like this to get paint on the barrel. But whatever I do, it's crushing the tip of the brush. So I really think it's true when people say that you can get a blunt tip on your brushes when you are working with paint, that you have to dig out like this. So I think I'm actually gonna put water in these wells here and then force the paint that's on the edges down to the center of the pan, so that I can have this movement where I do like this when I pick up the paint. So yeah, I'm just gonna do that, and then I can also see if they react the same way, like do they dissolve the same way as the Kuretake, because then you might be able to do this with all sorts of paint and not just being lucky that the binder in the Kuretake allows you to do it. But so far it is so annoying when there is still a lot of paint in the rims, you know. So yeah, I'm gonna do that. Okay guys, you're not going to believe this. It's been like 3 days. I know I said that I would return after 5 hours, but I just was busy and forgot all about it. It's been 3 days, and for what it's worth, it's turned into a completely palette makeover. How about this? How about this? Doesn't it look like a brand new palette? Remember how used and just tired, given up it looked with all those that had hit pan and whatnot? And the whole instigator, this pan right here that made me do all this, has collected itself with a nice, super nice, smooth surface. Like everything, I know it looks wet, but it's the lacquer of Gansai Tambi is just, yeah, it's just got this super sheen over it, but it is completely dried up. But doesn't it look like brand new? Like this is the one that has the less in it. You can still see it if you look at the edge of the pan, that there is not a lot of product in this. But when I look at this and I think about the travel kit from Gansai Tambi that people are really surprised over how small the pans are, I suddenly understand that there probably is not a lot of product in them, because the travel set looks exactly like this in the corners, where you can see that the paint is like gliding from the edge down to the bottom. So I'm glad that I did this kind of palette makeover, because that taught me a little bit about how little product there might be in the travel kit. So I'm glad I didn't buy it. Look at that orange. Remember how it was like there was a gap between the paint and the pan, and now it's just flat. So, and for what it's worth, all the paint that was in the corners of the pans are now spread out evenly. So I can once again dip a fairly fat brush in it and swirl it around and get it loaded with paint without feeling that I need to like scrub it from the edges. I also went ahead and did the same with my praying palette because it was getting a little bit annoying, and that also turned out like really nice. Look how all the paint has resided from the walls of the pan down into the center of the pan. So now it's just more easy, more user-friendly to pick up. And I think it matters. You shouldn't have an obstacle loading your brush when you're painting. It should be like a fluent movement, like when you just pick up color. So I am so happy that I did this experiment, even though I know it was a little bit excessive. It was a little bit excessive. I admit that. But I have not regretted it at all. I think it brought back some beauty to this beautiful palette. And I love to see that lacquered sheen. I mean, it's just like it's brand new. So, yeah. Thumbs up to myself for cleaning up this. I really like it. Wish you a nice day. I just wanted to show you this. Bye-bye.